From the PEP Radio Newsroom, we have a broadcast chock full of idiocy from the Pumpkinführer. A U.S. Air Force jet with migrants bound at their wrists and ankles, including children, departed Texas for Guatemala on Thursday, carrying 80 deportees in another deportation flight that reflects a growing role for the armed forces in helping enforce immigration laws. The flight from Fort Bliss, an Army base in El Paso, was scheduled to take about 7 hours, nearly twice as long as a direct route, because the military plane could not fly over Mexico because the Mexican government said, "Keep the fuck out of our country," said U.S. Border Patrol spokesperson Orlando Marrero. As I mentioned before, 8 children were aboard. The message that we have for those people is that if you cross the border illegally, we are going to deport you to your country of origin in a matter of hours. Tell that to Lady Yamtits, Marrero said. The Trump administration has used military aircraft to deport people to Guatemala, Ecuador, and Colombia, a departure from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement's previous practice to employ charter and commercial planes. There are some countries that don't like military planes coming into their territory, said U.S. Representative Henry Cuellar, a Democrat who represents a Texas border district. It's something that logistically has to be worked out with the country before, because you don't want to have a plane turn around in midair. Oh, heavens, no. You don't want a plane with 80 civilians, 6 of whom are children, getting turned around and having to suffer in shackles for another 7 fucking hours. On Sunday, Colombia's President Gustavo Petro refused 2 U.S. military planes with migrants, prompting Trump to announce 25% tariffs on Colombian exports. Colombia backed off and said it would accept the migrants but fly them from Colombian military flights that Petro said would guarantee them dignity. Here's the thing. Colombia was all set to announce 25% tariffs on coffee. On coffee. Remember that, you people who have to get up in the morning. On coffee. The Pentagon began deploying active duty troops to the border last week, but it was unclear to what extent they will break from supporting roles they have played under presidents since George W. Bush, including ground and aerial surveillance, building barriers, and repairing vehicles. An 1878 law prohibits military involvement in civilian law enforcement, but Trump said, "Fuck you," and his aides did too. And they have signaled the president may invoke wartime powers. Trump said in his Inauguration Day order declaring a border emergency that the Defense Department may assist with detention and transportation to enormous cost drivers. Way to go. Let's blow a hole through the budget and the surplus. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. The deficit. Now, you heard that right, folks. Donald Trump is using wartime powers. Against whom has Congress declared war? Are we now at war with South America? With Mexico? And essentially anyone who stops us from getting Greenland? In other news, Donald Trump is getting coal in his stocking after declaring war on the North Pole and Santa Claus. Danny Elfman, Santa's chief of staff, told reporters during a news conference that the North Pole is bracing to cancel Christmas in retaliation to Donald Trump's threats. Just remember, GOP folks, you voted for this. Christmas is canceled. No, but seriously, in other news, the Department of Justice's LGBTQ plus employee resource group, DOJ Pride, shut itself down this week after existing for 3 decades, citing protection of all members as the reason for its self-imposed closure. In this time of uncertainty and concern, we have taken the extraordinary measure of ceasing operations of DOJ Pride, a message sent by the group's board to members. We have made this decision in the interest and for the protection of all members. The email shared with NBC News by 2 Department of Justice staffers expressed hope that the group could rebuild in the future. Good luck with that. The extraordinary act of self-censorship was taken in the wake of the Trump administration's order last week to root out all diversity, equity, and inclusion measures from the federal government. Trump issued a similar order on Wednesday, purging gender ideology and its associated programs from federal offices. Long-standing affinity groups at the DOJ include DOJ Pride, the DOJ Association of Blacks in Government, Federally Employed Women, DOJ Muslim Americans in Public Service, and the DOJ Native American Association, among others. This just in, they've all been fired. No, just kidding. A spokesperson for the Justice Department said in reaction to DOJ Pride's closure that the Trump administration believes very strongly in the First Amendment, which guarantees freedom of association. Okay, look, no. Justice Department spokesman, no, you don't. You are gaslighting the entire LGBTQ plus community across the country. The Pumpkinführer only believes in that for cisgender white people. Better yet, if they are Christians, just not, Episcopalians. Get bent, Justice Department spokesperson. That's the news at this hour. Be sure to download the Live 365 app to be able to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. Now back to more music on PEP Radio.